We've got the Chevrolet Bolt EUV.
Spoiler alert, this is my favorite EV. We'll find out if it's Andrea's. All right.
There goes the Bolt.
There goes my phone.
Oh, wow, that's got some good power.
Yeah.
Excellent acceleration.
All right, we're going to get into that in just a moment, but right now, we don't say what's under the hood. What's under the floor of this Bolt EV?
It's got a 65 kilowatt hour battery with up to 397 kilometers, 247 miles of EV range. It has 200 horsepower and 266 pound-feet of torque, front-wheel drive only.
And it's quick, 0 to 60 miles an hour in 7 seconds. Halfway through every video, we have questions, coffee, and cars, and today we're throwing in a comment, somebody that owns this vehicle, pretty good insight. Right now, we get into the key standard features. What do you get with the Bolt EUV?
The Bolt EUV comes with a 10.2-inch touchscreen, an 8-inch driver information display, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, a wireless charger, heated steering wheel, heated cloth front seats, a power driver seat, manual passenger seat, a 6-speaker audio system, and Chevrolet Safety Assist. In the US, heated front seats, a heated steering wheel, and a power driver seat are not standard features, but available in a package.
Andrew's favorite, it's got a sport mode. What else can we put it in?
Got to put it in S for subscribe. And if you can hit that notification bell, you'll be notified when all of our reviews drop, and then you can watch them.
And we do this, the couple car review, twice a week. The first one drops on Wednesday.
We put out another one on Saturday.
So make sure you like and subscribe. Most importantly, hit that notification bell, but also follow on Instagram. It's Motormouth_Andrea to see what's going on behind the scenes. For me, it's Motormouth_Auto, and the links are below the like button.
The Bolt offers a softer suspension. It really eats up those bumps in the road. It's smooth, the cabin remains quiet, even at highway speeds.
So General Motors, as a rule, does a very good job with calibrating suspension.
Yeah.
Every time we drive a General Motors product, they get that nice balance of comfort and some feedback, and it's especially hard with EVs because you've got a big, heavy battery, so they have to be able to absorb the bumps and then rebound without it being too jerky. They got that part nailed.
There are a lot of positives to this vehicle, but there is one big negative for me, and that's the steering. It's very vague. In fact, many times, whether I'm in the city or on the highway, I have to correct the steering quite often. And over time, you know what? It gets a little bit annoying.
I think it's the low rolling resistance tires. I would probably change those.
Yeah.
If I had this car, I would go with a more performance-oriented summer tire than a dedicated winter tire.
Sure.
Because this thing's quick. It has a lot of torque, and if you had the right tire, man, it would be quite a machine.
Yeah, so definitely that's what we would do. We would change the tires, we would see how it goes. I don't know if that's going to be good enough. Do you really think it's the tire?
Well, it would certainly help. You know, one of the easiest and least expensive things you can do to modify a car, change the tires. So last year for 2022, just before the vehicles had a stop sale because of the battery issue, they introduced a new look on the outside, a new interior. So if they have any new updates for 2023?
They did. They've introduced the Redline package, which is just under $500 in the US and just over $550 in Canada. And that will get you black exterior accents, red trim, black wheels that have like kind of a red stripe to them. And it really ups the sportiness of the Bolt. Even the badging is in black and red.
So I'm a big fan of the regular Bolt, the little subcompact car. This is the EUV, which is slightly bigger. It's like the beluga whale version. I think you like this one better, don't you?
I just like the look of this better. So this is the one that I would buy for sure. Another change for 2023 in the US is that Chevrolet dropped the pricing by $6,300. And it now qualifies for the tax credit of up to $7,500. So it is an amazing deal in the US. This comes standard with 17-inch wheels, standard LED headlamps and tail lamps, and it comes with a tire repair kit. This Bolt gets 5.6 inches of ground clearance.
So that's the outside. Then we turn our attention to the inside. As we mentioned last year, that's a major upgrade because the original Bolt It was plastic fantastic. The seats weren't that comfortable, had a lot of hard materials on the inside. And this is a big upgrade. The seats are now quite comfortable, and this beautiful looking dash pad, and the big screen is standard, right?
Yeah, standard, as well as the 8-inch driver display, also standard. So you get a lot for your money, even if you just buy the base LT trim.
The one thing about General Motors with their infotainment systems, I always say they're so easy to use. From 18 to 80, everybody's going to be able to use this because their graphics are big and it's super easy to use.
Yeah, and this comes standard with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, so you're getting some really good tech in here. Now, you can get away with going with the base trim in Canada. In the US, you don't get as many standard features, so you've got to add a package to kind of get up to those features that we have in Canada. But you could get away with the base trim, which is a great price. There is a package in Canada that will get you the ventilated front seats, as well as this black and blue leather appointed interior that we have, if you would like to add it. Another thing that package has is the rear center armrest, which I think if you've got passengers, it might be more comfortable for them.
Here's the thing, if you just spend just less than $2,000 more, you're probably better just to go and get the Premier trim, because it has basically what you see here minus the sunroof, and I think that really is, even though it's more expensive, that really is the value story.
Yeah, and you get a 360 camera in that, and also heated rear seats. Now, if you do want the panoramic sunroof, the Bose sound system, and navigation, you have to get the Sun and Sound package, which is a package that is both in Canada and the US. If something like the panoramic sunroof is important to you, we'll use Canadian pricing here. You add that package and you're coming in at just under $50,000. So the price really adds up.
So it's obvious in the packaging of this car, they prioritized rear seat legroom, and they can do that because of a long platform with the battery in there. There is plenty of legroom, like a lot of legroom. Headroom is not as good, but this is a roomy back seat.
Let's compare it to something like the new Kia Niro. Front row legroom is very good in the Bolt. It offers 3 inches more legroom. Second row legroom, the winner is the Niro. It offers ½ an inch more legroom.
All right, when you lift up the hatch at the back, first of all, not a power tailgate, kind of missed that. And the space with this vehicle is really for the passengers. The cargo area isn't that big. However, if you want to make more room, that floor is totally removable, and then you get really quite a deep cargo area. That's where the cable's stored, but you could definitely use that space.
It offers 16.3 cubic feet of space behind the second row. That's less space than the Niro, and overall cargo capacity, the Niro and the Bolt EUV are about the same.
All right, we talked about it. Comment and questions.
Time now for questions, coffee, and cars.
Well, we're going to switch it up. It's questions, coffee, and cars. We'll get to that. Regular scheduled programming will continue. Right now, it's questions, comment, and cars.
Well, we have a viewer who owns a Bolt, and so we thought we would add his feedback. We have this as an emergency car and dog hauler for the last 8 months. I absolutely love it. I hear people complain about the charging speed, but it hasn't been an issue with us. On road trips, my wife and kids ride in our EQS SUV.
Whoa, wait a second, that's posh.
I know, right? And me and the dogs ride in the EUV. Oh,
he knows
how
his
about
place.
that, right?
Yeah. Husband gets the cheaper car.
Well, not exactly. I'm sure he drives the EQS SUV too. Listen to Zach. The Bose sound system is pretty darn good. We find the same. And ample amount of space in the rear and boot. In fact, I only take the EUV for Costco runs, and I can fit lots and lots of stuff. Great car, lots of extras, including the rear view mirror camera, so true, on the Premier trim, and rear heated seats. I always say to my wife, if this car was able to charge up to 150 kilowatt and had all-wheel drive, easily compact EV of the year. Wow, what a great comment. Good feedback.
All right, so he likes everything about the car except for the 55 kilowatt charger.
Yeah.
So that's when you go to the fast DC charger. I think General Motors knows this, and they know the buyer profile of this car. To this guy's point, this is probably a second car or just used in the city. If you charge it at home on 240 volts, every morning you got a full tank.
And 80% of people who own EVs charge overnight at home anyway. It's just if you're on the road. And I think for us, it would be the same thing. We would be like you. We would have this as our second vehicle, a run around. We've been having so much fun with it. Plenty of power.
I want one.
It's fantastic.
I want one. You know what? This is a guy with an EQS SUV, all right? He can buy what he wants, obviously.
Yeah.
He bought this, and he's happy. All right, now to regular scheduled programming.
Time now for questions, coffee, and cars.
Your questions from Instagram.
It's a great deal if you charge it at home overnight. Yeah, we just talked about that. The only issue is when it's time to replace the battery. It's going to be very expensive. Does Chevy cover the cost of that?
No.
Well, no, but Chevrolet offers a warranty on the battery of 8 years or 160,000 kilometers, 100,000 miles. But they're not going to replace the battery if there's nothing wrong with it.
Well, the ones that were sold up until this year had all the batteries replaced. So they did stand behind the product. There was a fault. There was not that many, about 12 or 15 fires, and they replaced the batteries on all of them. If you're buying an electric car, they all have limited warranties up to about 8 to 10 years.
Yeah, for sure. Last time I test drove one, it felt quite small compared to the competition, and the dash also seems quite low. Based on the photos from Instagram, I don't think they changed any of that. Does Chevy finally offer all-wheel drive on these?
Okay, all-wheel drive, that's an easy one. No, it's still front-wheel drive. And you might be confusing the regular Bolt with this EUV. So this is the Bolt, but pregnant, bigger. And then they updated for 2022 the whole interior and exterior of the car.
Yeah.
I don't find the dash low at all. In fact, it's like
think
a
it's
regular dash.
I think it just looks normal.
Oh, show
No
them your
problem.
seat thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so if you think of the dash is too high or too low, watch this. Okay,
so we just want to say that it doesn't come with a power passenger seat, but it does have a height adjustment.
At least give us that.
Zach and I love, but look how high I go.
There goes Andrea. She's going past the men's department all the way to housewares.
That's it. Like, look how tall I am. So anybody who is petite, you can just sit
look
up
at this.
and over the
Look
dash.
at the video. We're the same height.
Oh yeah, look at us.
That's 'cause
Do I
I got-
drive around like that?
I got the
Feels
torso of
weird.
a giant.
Feels weird. I'm using my muscles.
Are you saying I'm weird?
Ratcheting down. No, you're not. You're not weird. Maybe just a weird comment.
What else is new?
We put out a lot of content each week on the Motormouth YouTube channel, and it's super easy to find.
All you do is go to the YouTube search bar and type in Motormouth. That's the name of the channel. And then Chevrolet in this case, and all our videos will pop up. It's that easy.
Great content as usual. Could I suggest that you and Zach post if there's a heat pump on PHEV or EV vehicles on your Instagram and YouTube feed? Yes.
Well, you usually do.
Usually we do say if there's a heat pump or not. One thing about Instagram is I'm only allowed so many words on my posts, so I have to limit what I put. But yes, we can definitely add a heat pump.
All you do is you put heat pump yes, heat pump no.
Yes.
This does not come with a heat pump.
No heat pump here. However, it does have a resistance heating system.
Yeah, so if you don't have a heat pump, basically, if you know what a baseboard heater is, and then they run electricity through the element and it creates heat. That's basically what's happening here. A heat pump is more efficient. This isn't as efficient, but the heat works great.
Every time we go on a launch of a vehicle, I always ask the manufacturers about a heat pump. And I'm probably driving them a bit crazy now, but I want to see if somebody has a different answer. And so far, the manufacturers that I've talked to, they said that a heat pump is great, but once you kind of hit that -5 Celsius,
which isn't that cold.
No. So
I mean, for some people in the world, they're like, ooh, that's cold. But in Canada, that ain't cold.
No. They say it's not very efficient.
The big deal is you plug this in overnight, you get around the slower DC fast charging, and then you precondition the car so it's toasty warm when you get inside. That's the trick. And then just enjoy it. I wouldn't worry about it. I would just buy the car and enjoy it. And now it's time for our hot topic. What's this one, Andrea?
With yet more recalls of the Bolt in 2022 and even the 2023 model, will this name disappear from GM's stable? Then there's the rumor of GM going to a new platform architecture for its compact EVs. Unless this car comes with a smoking hot deal, I think there's better alternatives out there.
Well, nothing's official unless it's made official, but you can guess with the Ultium platform being used on all new General Motors electric vehicles, it will eventually trickle into this. I would say, I don't think the Bolt is going to go away. This is such a great name for an electric car, and it's now well known. They'll probably just reinvent it with the next generation.
And I just want to quote Chevrolet's Vice President of Marketing, Steve Majoros. He said, "It's a great product right now. It will be with us for some time, but as we scale and ramp volume here, portfolios change."
So think about that. As they scale, they have to use the same components for all their vehicles. So you can bet this is going to go on the Ultium platform eventually.
And as for reliability or recalls, there has been another recall on 140,000 Bolts due to rare instances of front seat belt partitioner exhaust gases coming in contact with floor carpet fibers, which if you are in a crash, it can start a fire. Keep in mind, this is very rare. It affects 2017 to 2023 models. So they're doing their due diligence, recalling when there's an issue.
Recalls are not bad. Like everybody thinks because a vehicle has been recalled, it's a terrible, indictment of the product. No, it's them staying on top of safety issues, which I think most people appreciate.
There's just a couple things that we missed that I want to add. One pedal driving is offered in the Bolt, of course controlled with the accelerator pedal. It brings the vehicle to a full stop. And also Super Cruise is offered on this, the hands-free driving. It's in a package, so that might be something that you're interested as well.
All right, so everybody talks about the full self-driving that Tesla has. They're not at the same level as Super Cruise. Super Cruise is certified to drive with your hands off the wheel. Tesla is not. So we know the range, we talked about that already, but everybody wants to know how long does it take to charge and more, including the price in our vital stats.
Let's start with pricing. The base model starts at just over $43,000 in Canada and just over $27,000 in the US. The Premier trim is just over $46,500 in Canada and just over $31,500 in the US. Chevrolet will cover standard installation of a level 2 charging outlet with the purchase or lease of a Bolt EUV. This EV comes with an 11.5 kilowatt onboard charger. With a DC fast charger, the Bolt EUV can charge up to 154 kilometers, 95 miles of range in 30 minutes. And with a level 2 charger, approximately 7 hours for a full charge.
In Canada, the Bolt EUV qualifies for the federal $5,000 rebate and any rebates in participating provinces. In the United States, the 2023 Bolt qualifies for a $7,500 tax credit. The warranty is 3 years, 60,000 kilometers or 36,000 miles. So this is a front-wheel drive, I would say subcompact, little runaround vehicle. What other front-wheel drive electric vehicles are like that?
For your consideration, 4 vehicles for you to consider.
Up first is the Kia Niro EV. It has 201 horsepower, 407 kilometers, 253 miles of range, and a starting price of under $45,000.
The Hyundai Kona EV, 201 horsepower, 415 kilometers or 257 miles of range, and a starting price just over $47,000.
The Kia Soul EV with 201 horsepower and 248 kilometers of EV range. It has a starting price of just over $43,000. This vehicle is no longer available in the U.S.
The Mazda MX-30 with 143 horsepower, just 161 kilometers or 100 miles of range, and has a starting price of $42,000.
So there are 4 EVs for you to consider.
Lightning round, 2 things we like, 2 things we'd like to see improved.
I like the whole package and the value that's being offered.
Yeah, it's really about the price.
What I'd like to see an improvement is just making the steering a little bit more precise so I don't have to correct it.
And I want that same deal you get in the US here in Canada. Shave the price by $6,300.
What a deal.
That's like 10,000 Canadian.
Wow. Great value, good power and range. This Bolt is a tough one to beat.
If you can get one.